This week was supposed to be awesome, folks. We had the best YouTube video the internet had ever witnessed planned out and ready to go. There were monster trucks. There was heck even a skit with Shakira and The Rock. And we had several musical guests all lined up. Then Smith and Wesson had to go and ruin absolutely everything by releasing a new gun.
Oh, it's disgusting. What is that? Is that Branson? Is that a tap dancing crab demon?
Now, this wouldn't have been so bad if Eric didn't stumble across it, but he immediately canceled all the plans that we had and cost me several non-refundable deposits. I guess Ellie doesn't really need to go to college anytime in the next 30 years, Eric.
All right, I'm gonna go cry.
Well, if you haven't figured it out yet, I urge you to abandon all hope, ye who enter, as we talk about the Smith and Wesson M&P 12. Yikes. You know what the world really needs? A new bullpup tactical shotgun, said nobody ever. Let me tell you something about this concept. Kel-tec dropped the KSG in 2011, and it's been irritating people who actually paid for the damn thing ever since. It has more plastic on it than a Real Housewife of Orange County, yet somehow looks even worse. And trust me, that is an actual accomplishment.
That's nasty.
I'm convinced that this gun was produced by a poached off meth dealer who used to work at Kel-tec to show the rest of the gun industry what happens when you cheap out and use too many plastic components on a firearm. And then Kel-tec continued to produce the KSG as a constant reminder of how bad and dangerous cutting costs can be when you care more about your bottom line than your product. Let's take a gander down the path and explore the true-ish story of the the M&P 12, and how it was created. Some new hotshot fresh off his unpaid internship with a shiny 4-year college degree enters the stage. This moon-faced kid walks into Smith and Wesson for his first day on the job, and while the kid barely needs to shave, wears too much Axe body spray, and sports some altogether too small dungarees, he must have that hookup for the sweet Colombian nose candy. Now bear with me here, because I'm about 83% sure this is the only way something like this can happen. Our boy, let's call him, Randy. He slips into the bathroom to relieve himself because he's getting a little bit nervous about his first day at Smith and Wesson, and he decides while in the bathroom that one little bump won't hurt anything. But if snorting 1 cocaine is good, then 2 must be even better, and this continues down a very predictable path till everything comes full circle when Randy decides that he shouldn't do 87 cocaines on his first day of work and should stick to just 1 half pound. Now you've got Randy, who is literally the highest person on the planet right now, wandering a gun manufacturing plant, terrorizing the rest of the staff, talking about how shotguns are the wave of the future, and that's because Papa Biden recommended shooting them indiscriminately out your back window when strangers knock on your door. Nobody knows what he's actually talking about, but they all try their best to ignore him. And that's until he kicks in the door to R&D. Now, if you can imagine what R&D must be like at Smith and Wesson, we have to assume it's not a large department. I mean, the most innovative thing that we've ever seen come from this company in the last decade is a pistol slide that's easier to pull back. Not that anybody expected anything else from a company that built its reputation on revolvers.
Whoop-de-doo.
Unfortunately for Smith and Wesson, they had hired a full-blown degenerate who refused to take no for an answer. At the threat of extreme violence, he forces all the poor frightened people at Smith and Wesson to create an exact clone of the KSG and market it as the next best firearm that literally nobody asked for. In a half-assed attempt to avoid litigation from the poo-flinging monkeys who run Kel-tec, Smith and Wesson chopped the grips off some M&P 9s and bolted them onto this abomination before shipping it out to the unsuspecting public. At least that's the only way I can see the M&P 12 actually getting created, developed, and marketed to the people who already aren't buying the KSG. If you have any question as to what fatal flaws we can expect the shotgun to have, we'll approach that from 2 separate angles. First, we need to compare this gun to what is clearly the inspiration, and I do say inspiration quite liberally here. This is almost an identical clone to the Kel-tec KSG, and the KSG is a gun that is notorious for breaking into a bazillion pieces in the hands of those who were foolhardy enough to purchase one. Feeding, unreliable. The trigger, it's like shoving toothpaste back into the tube. The ergonomics are similar to a slug with spikes, and you can get all of these outstanding features for an MSRP of $900, plus regret, buyer's remorse, and in a shocking number of cases, divorce and bankruptcy.
What?
This shotgun is so shitty that even Nuttin' Fancy had a hard time finding redeeming characteristics about it. I'm gonna say that one more time. This shotgun is so shitty that even Nuttin' Fancy had a hard time finding redeeming characteristics about it. Yikes. Now let's take a look at what Smith and Wesson tries to pass off as its features. It has a capacity of 6 to 7 rounds per tube, depending on what size shell you load in. And that sounds like a lot, but you have to assume that at least some of these are going to cause a failure during some form of the cycling process, because we've ridden this train before with the KSG. It's optics ready. No shit, Sherlock, it's got a pick rail on the top. So yeah, that's essentially like saying, hey, buy our gun, guys. It now comes standard with iron sights, which actually is pretty sadly a selling point for some guns these days. Holy cow, it has an ambidextrous safety selector, which is not even close to being impressive these days. I do think it is kind of funny that their website makes sure to list the fact that the stock is synthetic, as if that was not obvious. It's 8 pounds 3 ounces, making it heavier than the KSG by something like, I don't know, 3 pounds or whatever. There are interchangeable palm swell grip inserts, so you can keep the one that comes installed on the gun and lose the other 3 like we always do whenever this is an option. Don't forget about that reciprocating cover with the release button designed for clearing damaged shells. Damaged shells?
Wait, what did you just say to me?
I have never, not once, seen a Mossberg 500 or a Remington 870 damage a shell during regular operation. What? Next up, we have the fact that the website also has an instructional video for clearing a misfire and a second one for clearing a damaged shell. How unreliable is this thing that they need to ensure that there are readily available videos to fight through the impending shit show of a range day that you're about to have the first time you take this bad Larry out of the box? The MSRP is also almost $300 more than the KSG, making it a much more expensive hot pile of trash. This thing might actually be the worst valued gun in the entire world. Now, unlike our normal approach, I think we might actually be onto something here, because objectively speaking, any firearm that requires you to essentially disassemble the rear half to reload the damn thing is making it overly complicated. Also, one of the selling features for any tactical shotgun is how simple, reliable, and easy they are to use. Even an inexperienced shooter can easily find their way around a budget pump-action 12-gauge, which makes them at least options for defensive use. The inclusion of increased complexity and the adding of polymer parts that are essential to the operation of the firearm is starting to immediately draw away from any serious tactical or home defense applications. But Tyler, you say, what if this was just meant to be a fun range toy? Well, that's almost a valid argument there, Billy, except for 3 glaring facts that tell us there is no way in hell Smith and Wesson is trying to sell you something made for fun. First of all, it's sold under the MNP logo, you know, military and police, yeah, that logo. I will literally shove a jar of mayo up my ass if we see any US forces carrying this thing into combat on camera for the OnlyBeards account. Secondly, it's marketed as a tactical weapon. Tactical weapons stake their reputation on reliability, and the manufacturer has proven that not even they have faith that a normal human being without video instruction will be capable of making it through a full magazine without the need for mental gymnastics to overcome the failures built into the gun. Let's not forget the third point, which is the almost $1,200 MSRP. And this tells me that it's not a toy, and nobody who gives half a shit about any kind of money will ever buy it as a toy.
Oh, snap.
All right, we get it. We joke here a lot, but seriously, there will be people that buy this shotgun with the intention of using it as a home defense tool. Even worse, there'll be some law enforcement agencies who are relatively unfamiliar with firearms outside of their required training to purchase one of these things and put it in a patrol car. Insert facepalm joke here. Unless they somehow took the Kel-tec shotgun and removed all the flaws, and don't count on that, this is sold and marketed with a total lack of regard for the safety of the consumer. Gun roasts, they can be fun, and we've had a lot of fun telling people why their objectively cool rifles are bad, but those are jokes. The only joke here is this shotgun. Nobody asked for it, nobody wants it, and Smith and Wesson is gonna lose a lot of money on it. What the fuck were they thinking? Hey, that sounds like the ending to our videos. Thanks for watching, folks. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to check out these two cripplers right here, and make sure to join us next week like Smith and Wesson, where we still don't know what the fuck we're doing.